My wife told me she was divorcing me on Valentine's Day Eve. I just said okay, and I left. That was it. She expected me to beg her, but I was not going to do that. Hello. Thank you for your continuous support. This means a lot to us. If you enjoy the stories we share, kindly subscribe to this channel. It will be great if you can leave a comment on which city you are watching from. We might just give you a shout-out in our next story. Today's special shout-out goes to Shane from Australia. We are glad you enjoy our stories. Now let's dive into the details of today's story. I'll never forget the sound of Laura's voice that night, sharp as a razor, slicing through the hum of the heater in our living room. February 13th, 2023. Valentine's Day Eve. The air smelled of her lavender candle, the one she lit every time she wanted to pretend we were still a happy couple. I stood by the couch, hands in my pockets, staring at the flickering flame while she paced in front of me, her heels clicking on the hardwood like a countdown to something I didn't see coming. Not yet. I'm done, Daniel, she said, her words spitting out like venom. I'm divorcing you. I can't keep carrying us both. I didn't flinch. Didn't even look up. The candle's glow danced on the coffee table, catching the edge of a half-empty wine glass she'd been nursing all evening. She stopped pacing, waiting, expecting me to crumble, to beg her to stay. 8 months of her tearing me down had taught me one thing. She thrived on my desperation. But that night, I had none left to give. Okay, I said. Just that. One word. My voice was steady, quieter than the wind rattling the windows outside. I grabbed my coat from the armchair, the old leather one she'd always hated, and headed for the door. Her silence hit me harder than her words ever had. I could feel her eyes boring into my back, wide with shock, like I'd just yanked the script out of her hands. She'd rehearsed this scene in her head 100 times, I bet. Me on my knees, pleading, promising to be better, to fix myself. But I wasn't playing her game anymore. The doorknob was cold in my hand, the hinges creaking as I stepped out into the snow. I didn't look back. The night swallowed me whole. Flakes stung my face as I trudged down the driveway, the streetlights casting long, jagged shadows over the frost-covered lawns. My breath puffed out in clouds, and my boots crunched the thin layer of ice like I was stepping on every insult she'd hurled at me since I lost my job. Useless. Pathetic. Dead weight. Her voice echoed in my skull, a ghost I couldn't shake, not yet. It started 8 months ago, back in June 2022. Layoffs at Grayson Corp hit like a freight train, and I was one of the casualties. Middle management, expendable. I'd been a logistics coordinator, decent pay, steady hours, until the email came. We regret to inform you. I spent that first week in a daze, refreshing job boards, tweaking my resume. Laura didn't waste time letting me know what she thought. You're dragging us down, she'd said one night, slamming a plate of spaghetti on the table so hard the sauce splattered. Her green eyes glinted with something mean, something I hadn't seen in her before we tied the knot 5 years back. I didn't sign up to be the breadwinner for a failure. I tried to explain. The market was brutal. I was doing my best, but she didn't want excuses. She wanted blood. Every rejection letter I got was another notch in her belt, another reason to twist the knife. Maybe if you weren't so lazy, she'd say, sipping her coffee while I scrolled LinkedIn at the kitchen counter. Maybe if you had any spine. By December, I stopped arguing. Just nodded, kept my head down, kept searching. I figured she'd ease up once I landed something. I was wrong. The snow was thicker now, piling up on my shoulders as I reached the end of our cul-de-sac. I didn't have a plan, just kept walking, the cold seeping through my jeans, waking me up. My phone buzzed in my pocket. Probably her, ready to gloat or scream or both. I didn't check. Let it buzz. Let her stew. I thought about the guy I used to be. Before the layoffs, before Laura's tongue turned into a weapon. I'd been solid, maybe not a rock star, but reliable. I'd managed teams, hit deadlines, earned a handshake from the VP once. Losing that job didn't just take my paycheck, it took my footing. Laura saw weakness and pounced, like a shark smelling blood. But that night, walking away, something shifted. I wasn't running. I was choosing. The wind howled, whipping snow into my eyes, and I ducked under a pine tree for cover. Its branches sagged heavy, dripping icy water down my neck. I shivered, but I didn't mind. It felt real, sharper than the numbness I'd been living in. I replayed her words. I'm divorcing you. Not, we should separate, or I need space. No, she went straight for the kill. And I said, okay. 2 syllables that flipped her world upside down. I laughed, a low, rough sound that surprised me. It echoed off the empty street, swallowed by the storm. She'd wanted me to fight for her, to prove I was still the man she'd married. But I wasn't that guy anymore. Not for her. 8 months of her grinding me down had carved something new, something harder. I didn't know what it was yet, but I could feel it taking shape, like a blade sharpening in the dark. I kept walking, past the neighbors' houses with their glowing windows, their lives tucked safe inside. My apartment was miles away, an old lease I'd kept as a backup, a hunch I hadn't admitted to myself until now. I'd need it soon. Laura would lawyer up fast, I knew that much. She'd fight dirty, claw for every dime, every piece of furniture. Fine. Let her have the house, the car, the damn lavender candle. I didn't need any of it. The snow crunched louder under my boots, a rhythm that matched my heartbeat. Faster now, steadier. I tilted my head back, let the flakes melt on my face. Cold, clean, alive. I thought about the job applications still pending, dozens of them, scattered across the city like seeds in the wind. One of them would stick. I'd make sure of it. Laura thought I was finished, a husk she could kick around. She didn't know me at all. By the time I hit the main road, the storm was a full-on beast, roaring through the trees, burying the world in white. My coat was soaked, my fingers numb, but I didn't stop. Couldn't stop. Every step was a promise, to myself, not her. I'd claw my way back, not for revenge, not to prove her wrong, but because I still had something left, something she couldn't touch. I glanced over my shoulder, half expecting to see her silhouette in the distance, chasing me down. Nothing but snow and shadows. Good. She'd figure out soon enough. I wasn't coming back. Not tonight. Not ever. And when I turned away, facing the dark stretch of road ahead, I felt it. A spark, small but fierce, burning through the cold. This wasn't the end. It was the start. The apartment smelled like mildew and regret when I stumbled in that night, snow dripping off my coat onto the chipped linoleum. March 2023 had just kicked off, and I was 3 weeks out from Laura's big divorce bomb. The place was a shoebox, bare walls, a sagging couch I grabbed off Craigslist, and a mattress that creaked like it was mocking me. But it was mine. No lavender candles, no clicking heels, no voice telling me I wasn't enough. Just silence, thick and heavy, wrapping around me like a blanket I didn't know I needed. I dropped my duffel bag by the door. Everything I'd taken from the house fit in there. A few shirts, jeans, my laptop, a toothbrush. Laura could keep the rest. She'd probably burn it anyway, just to spite me. I flicked on the single bulb hanging from the ceiling, its yellow light buzzing like a trapped fly. The room stared back at me, empty except for a card table I'd set up as a desk. My laptop sat there, screen dark, a lifeline I'd been clinging to since the layoffs. I peeled off my wet coat, my fingers stiff from the cold, and sank onto the couch. The springs groaned under me, loud enough to make me wince. 8 months jobless, 8 months of rejection emails, of, we've decided to move forward with another candidate. I'd lost count after 50, but I hadn't stopped. Every morning, I brewed coffee in that dented pot Laura hated, fired up the laptop, and hunted. Logistics, management, anything with a pulse. I wasn't picky anymore, just hungry. That night, though, I felt different. Walking out on Laura had cracked something open, a jagged little window I hadn't seen before. I wasn't just surviving her anymore. I was done letting her define me. I powered on the laptop, the fan wheezing like an old man, and opened my email. Junk, bills, spam. Then, buried in the mess, a subject line hit me like a punch. Interview request. Horizon Enterprises. My pulse kicked up. Horizon Enterprises. Mid-sized firm, solid rep, logistics and marketing, mostly. I'd applied for a manager slot a month back, one of those long-shot applications you toss out and forget. I clicked it open, scanning the words. We were impressed with your resume. Wednesday, 10 a.m. Looking forward, my mouth went dry. An interview. After months of nothing, this was a lifeline with teeth. I leaned back, staring at the cracked ceiling. Wednesday, 2 days away. I had 2 days to shake off the rust, to prove I wasn't the deadweight Laura saw. I got up, paced the tiny room, 5 steps wall to wall, my mind racing. I'd need to prep, research the company, polish my pitch, dig out the one suit I hadn't pawned. The suit was wrinkled, shoved in the duffel, but I'd make it work. I had to. Sleep didn't come easy that night. The mattress squeaked every time I shifted, and the wind rattled the window like it wanted in. I kept seeing Laura's face. Her smirk when she'd called me a failure, her shock when I walked out. It fueled me, that look. She thought I'd crumble without her, that I'd be begging on street corners by now. I'd show her. Not with words, those were her weapons, but with something real. Tuesday blurred by in a haze of coffee and adrenaline. I sat at that rickety table, laptop glowing, digging into Horizon Enterprises. They handled supply chains for retail chains, Walmart, Target, names I knew from my Grayson days. The manager gig was overseeing a team of 10, streamlining ops. My kind of turf. I pulled up old reports I'd done at Grayson, numbers I'd crunched, projects I'd nailed. I practiced answers in my head, why I'd been out of work, what I brought to the table, until they felt sharp, unbreakable. By Wednesday morning, I was wired. Shaved, showered, suit pressed with a borrowed iron from the landlord, an old guy named Pete who smelled like cigars and didn't ask questions. The mirror showed a guy I barely recognized, shadows under my eyes, jaw tight, but something alive in there too. I grabbed my keys, a cheap briefcase I'd found at a thrift store, and headed out. The bus ride downtown was a jolt, crowded, noisy, the city waking up around me. I didn't mind. It felt like momentum. Horizon's building loomed ahead, glass and steel cutting into the gray sky. I stepped off the bus, straightened my tie, and walked in. The lobby was all polish, marble floors, a receptionist with a smile that didn't reach her eyes. "Daniel Carter, here for an interview," I said, my voice steadier than I felt. She nodded, pointed me to the elevators. 5th floor. The interview room was bright, too bright, with a long table and 3 suits waiting. A woman with sharp glasses, a guy with a gray beard, and a younger dude tapping a pen like he was bored. I sat, hands folded, and they started firing. "Tell us about yourself. Why the gap in employment? What's your management style?" I didn't stutter, didn't flinch. I told them about Grayson, how I'd cut shipping costs by 15%, how I'd kept my team tight even when deadlines crushed us. "The layoff? Economic downturn," I said, calm. "I've been selective, waiting for the right fit." They nodded, scribbled notes. The bearded guy leaned forward. "Why Horizon?" I locked eyes with him. "Because I know logistics and I know people. You need someone who can deliver both." That's me. No begging, no bullshit. Just truth. They didn't smile, but I saw it, a flicker in their faces. Respect, maybe. The woman asked about problem solving. I walked them through a crisis I'd handled at Grayson, step by step, like I was back in the game. Pin tapper stopped tapping. It was over in 40 minutes. Handshakes, we'll be in touch, the usual dance. I rode the elevator down, my heart hammering but my head clear. I'd nailed it. I knew it in my bones. The lobby air hit me cool and crisp as I stepped outside, the city buzzing around me. I didn't feel small anymore. Not invincible, not yet, but close. Back at the apartment that night, I was too keyed up to sit. I paced, replaying every word, every look from that panel. The phone stayed silent. Too soon for a call, I told myself. I microwaved a frozen burrito, ate it standing over the sink, the taste barely registering. The laptop glowed on the table, tempting me to check emails again, but I held off. Patience. I'd waited 8 months. I could wait a day. Then it buzzed, my phone, not the microwave. I lunged for it, nearly knocking over a chair. An email. Horizon Enterprises. My chest tightened as I opened it. "We're pleased to offer you the position of operations manager. Start date April 3. Congratulations." I read it twice, 3 times, the words blurring. A job. A real one. Manager. I sank onto the couch, the springs squeaking, and laughed, loud, rough, unstoppable. Laura's voice faded, just for a second, drowned out by something new. Me, winning. April 3rd, 2023, hit me like a freight train I didn't see coming. I stood in front of Horizon Enterprises again, suit crisp, briefcase in hand, but this time I wasn't begging for a shot. I was walking in as operations manager, keys to an office, a team, a paycheck. The glass doors slid open, and the lobby air rushed over me, cool and clean, like a baptism. I'd made it. 8 months of scraping by, of Laura's venom ringing in my ears, and here I was back on my feet, sharper than ever. The receptionist, same one, fake smile and all, handed me a badge with my name on it. Daniel Carter. Felt heavier than it should have, like it carried every rejection I'd swallowed to get here. 5th floor, she said, barely looking up. I nodded, rode the elevator alone, the hum filling my head with static. My stomach churned, not nerves, not exactly. Anticipation, maybe. I'd rehearsed this moment. First day, first impression. I'd run teams before at Grayson. I knew the drill. But this felt bigger, rawer. Like I was proving something to myself, not just them. The doors dinged open, and I stepped into chaos. The 5th floor buzzed, phones ringing, keyboards clacking, voices overlapping in a tangle of urgency. Open plan office, cubicles sprawling like a maze, a glass-walled meeting room off to the side. A guy in a tie too loud for 9 a.m. waved me over. Mike, HR rep, bearded guy from the interview. Carter, right on time, he said, clapping my shoulder like we were old pals. Team's waiting. Let's get you rolling. He led me through the cubicles, past curious glances and half-whispers. My office was a corner slot, small, but with a window. Desk, chair, a computer that didn't wheeze. Mine. I set my briefcase down, let the weight of it sink in. Mike rattled off logistics. 10 direct reports, supply chain focus, reports due Fridays. I nodded, half listening, already mapping how I'd run this. Efficiency was my game. I'd cut fat at Grayson, and I'd do it here. Then he said, team intros in 10. Conference room. I straightened my tie, ran through my opener in my head. Short, firm, set the tone. I didn't need them to like me, just to respect me. Mike left, and I had a minute to breathe, to stare out that window at the city sprawling below. Gray sky, honking traffic, life moving fast. I was part of it again. The conference room was packed when I walked in, 10 faces, some skeptical, some bored, all sizing me up. Mike stood by the whiteboard, scribbling something, while I took the head of the table. Morning, I said, voice steady. I'm Daniel Carter, your new ops manager. Been in logistics 10 years, cut my teeth at Grayson Corporation. I'm here to make us better, faster, smarter. Questions? Hands stayed down, but eyes narrowed. Good. They were listening. Mike jumped in, pointing around the room. This is Jake, junior analyst, bit green. Sarah, shipping lead. Tom, data guy. I nodded, locked names to faces. Jake looked shaky, like he'd spill coffee if I stared too hard. Sarah had a no-nonsense vibe. Good. I'd need that. Then Mike hit the last name, and Laura, marketing liaison, ties us to the promo team. My gut dropped. Laura. My Laura. She was there, third seat down, frozen mid-sip of her coffee. Green eyes wide, lips parted, staring at me like I'd risen from the dead. The room blurred for a second, her auburn hair, her sharp cheekbones, that damn floral scarf she wore like armor. I hadn't known. Hadn't even thought to check. Horizon was big, sure. But her department? My team? The odds were a sick joke. Daniel. Mike's voice snapped me back. Everyone was watching, waiting. Laura's shock morphed into a tight smile, the kind she'd flash before a fight. I cleared my throat, forced my face blank. Good to meet you all, I said, locking eyes with each one, hers last, shortest. Let's get to work. Chairs scraped, murmurs started, and they filed out. Laura lingered, hovering by the door, but I turned to Mike, asked about schedules. Ignored her. She'd wait. The day flew: paperwork, system logins, a crash course in Horizon's ops software. I kept my head down, but I felt her presence like a heat wave. She was 2 cubicles over, her voice cutting through the hum, talking campaigns and deadlines. Every laugh, every word, grated on me. I didn't look. Couldn't. Not yet. By 5 p.m., the floor thinned out, people grabbing coats, clocking out. I stayed, sorting files, when her shadow fell across my desk. I didn't look up. Daniel, she said, soft, like she was testing the water. I kept my eyes on the spreadsheet. What? She stepped closer, heels clicking, same damn sound from that night. Didn't expect to see you here, she said, a laugh in her voice, forced. Manager, huh? Big step up. I leaned back, met her gaze. She looked good, polished, confident, like she hadn't spent months carving me up. Yeah, I said, flat. Things change. Her smile faltered, but she recovered fast, leaning against my desk too close. We should talk. After hours, maybe. Catch up. Her tone dipped, flirty, a hook she thought I'd bite. I saw it then, her game. She didn't want me back. She wanted control again. Thought I'd melt now that I wasn't useless. I stood, grabbed my briefcase, kept my voice cold. This isn't personal, Laura. It's business. See you tomorrow. I brushed past her, felt her stiffen. She didn't follow. Good. The elevator ride down was quiet, but my blood was roaring. She was here. In my world. My team. I hadn't planned this, but damn if it didn't feel like fate twisting the knife she'd left in me. Outside, the air hit me sharp, the city lights smearing in the dusk. I walked to the bus stop, mind spinning. Laura thought she'd bury me jobless, broken, begging. Now I was her boss. The irony burned, hot and bitter, but I didn't laugh. Not yet. She'd push back. I knew her too well. She'd test me, claw for leverage. Fine. Let her try. I boarded the bus, the rumble vibrating through me, and stared out the window. My phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. You won't last, it read. No name, but I knew. Her first shot. I deleted it, leaned my head back, and closed my eyes. She had no idea what I was capable of. Not yet. May 2023 crept up fast, and Horizon Enterprises was starting to feel like my turf. A month in, I'd mapped the chaos, supply chains tangled like old Christmas lights, deadlines slipping through cracks. I tightened it up, bit by bit, rerouted shipments, cut delays, got the team humming. Not perfect, but better. The office buzzed quieter now, less panic, more purpose. I liked it. Felt like I was carving my name into something solid again. But Laura? She was a storm brewing on the edges, dark clouds I couldn't ignore. That text, you won't last, was just her opening shot. She'd gone quiet after I brushed her off that first day, but I knew her. Silence wasn't surrender, it was strategy. I caught her watching me sometimes, from her cubicle or across the break room, her green eyes narrow, calculating. I didn't bite. Kept my head down, my focus on the work. She'd show her hand soon enough. It started subtle, whispers I'd catch mid-sentence as I walked by. He's got no experience, someone muttered once, a guy from shipping I didn't know. Probably lucked into it. Another voice chimed in, low, near the coffee machine. I didn't flinch, didn't turn. Rumors were her specialty. Laura could spin a lie like a spider spins silk, delicate but sticky. I'd seen her do it to neighbors, friends, even me back when I was still trying to save us. Now it was my turn to be the target. By mid-May, it got louder. I'd step into the break room, and conversations would stutter, eyes darting away. Jake, the shaky analyst I'd pegged day one, started avoiding me, head down, hands fidgeting with his tie. Sarah, my shipping lead, stayed steady, but even she'd pause sometimes, like she was weighing what she'd heard. I didn't ask, didn't need to. Laura's fingerprints were all over it. Smudges of spite I could feel without seeing. The proof hit one Tuesday morning. I was in my office, coffee cooling on the desk, crunching numbers for a Friday report. Mike from HR poked his head in, beard bristling, face tight. Got a minute, he said, shutting the door behind him. I leaned back, nodded. He didn't sit, just stood there, arms crossed. There's talk, he started, voice low. Some of the team think you're off. Vindictive, maybe. Out of your depth. My jaw tightened, but I kept it cool. Who's saying it? I asked, though I already knew. Mike shrugged, evasive. Doesn't matter. Just chatter. Laura's name came up, though. Said you too have history. That you're here to settle a score. He watched me, waiting for a crack. I didn't give him one. She's my ex, I said flat. Marriage tanked. That's it. I didn't know she worked here, till I started. This about her. Mike scratched his beard, nodded slow. Partly. She's loud about it. Says you're unqualified. Got the job through pity or spite. Team split. Some buy it. I laughed, short and sharp, couldn't help it. Pity? I earned this. Check my numbers. Shipments are up 10% since I got here. He raised a hand, placating. I know. Just thought you should hear it. Squash it if you can. He left, door clicking shut, and I sat there, staring at the screen, blood simmering. Laura wanted a war. Fine. I'd fight it my way, not with her backstabbing games, but with what I was good at. I grabbed my coffee, lukewarm now, and headed out to the floor. Time to dig in. Jake was my first stop. Kid was a mess, 20-something, glasses fogged with nerves, hunched over his desk like he expected a blow. I'd seen myself in him that first day, raw, unsure, but with potential if you pushed right. "Jake," I said, leaning on his cubicle wall. He jumped, papers scattering. "You good?" He nodded too fast, eyes darting. "Why, ya, just busy." I didn't buy it. "Heard the rumors?" I asked, keeping it casual. His face went red, hands twisting. Some stuff. About you and Laura." I nodded, kept my voice low. "She's stirring shit. Don't let it rattle you. Focus on the work. I've got your back." He blinked, surprised, then mumbled, "Thanks." I tapped his desk. "Got that cost analysis for me by tomorrow?" He straightened, nodded. "Yeah, on it." "Good. One ally. Maybe." The day dragged, but I kept moving, meetings, calls, nudging the team without showing the heat under my skin. Laura stayed scarce, flitting between her desk and marketing, her laugh cutting through the hum now and then. I didn't look. Didn't need to. She was building something, and I'd see it soon. Friday hit, and the air felt thicker. I was in the break room, pouring coffee, black, no sugar, the way I liked it, when Sarah sidled up. "Heads up," she said, voice hushed. "Laura's telling people you faked your resume. Said she'd know you were married." I froze, cup halfway to my mouth. "She's lying," I said, low. Sarah shrugged. "I believe you. Others might not. Watch yourself." She walked off, leaving me staring at the steam curling up. Faked my resume? That was bold, even for her. My gracing years were real, sweat, late nights, results. She knew that she'd seen the paychecks, the bonuses. But truth didn't matter to her, perception did. I dumped the coffee, too pissed to drink it, and headed back to my office. The numbers on my screen blurred as I sat there, fist clenched. She was good, damn good, at twisting the knife. I worked late that night, the floor emptying out, lights dimming. Just me and the hum of the AC. I was pulling Jake's analysis. He'd done solid work, kidded chops when my phone buzzed. Another text, same unknown number. "They're onto you." Tick-tock. My pulse kicked up. Laura again, playing ghost. I deleted it, but it stuck, her warning, her game. Then I heard it, footsteps, soft but deliberate, coming down the hall. I looked up, saw her shadow through the glass. Laura, standing there, arms crossed, smirking like she'd already won. She didn't knock, just pushed the door open. "Late night, boss?" she said, voice dripping sugar. I didn't bite. "What do you want?" She stepped in, leaned on my desk, too close again. "Just checking on you. Rough week, huh? Rumors can kill a guy like you." I met her eyes, cold. "Keep pushing, Laura. See where it gets you." Her smirk twitched, but she didn't back off. "Oh, I will," she said, turning to leave. "Night, Daniel." The door clicked shut, and I sat there, heart pounding, knowing it was on. She'd drawn blood. My move now. June 2023 rolled in hot and sticky, the kind of heat that made the Horizon Enterprises office feel like a pressure cooker. 2 months into the job, and I'd turned the ops team into something lean, shipments on time, costs down, numbers the higher-ups couldn't ignore. I'd earned my stripes, quiet and steady, but Laura's shadow kept growing. Her rumors had teeth now, gnawing at the edges of my world. Fake resume. Vindictive ex. Whispers followed me like flies, and I could feel the team splitting, some with me, some waiting for me to crack. Friday morning, I walked into the 5th floor, coffee in hand, and the air felt wrong. Too still, too tight. People glanced up from their cubicles, then away fast, like they'd been caught staring. Jake was at his desk, head down, typing furiously. Sarah caught my eye from shipping, gave a tiny nod, solid as ever. But the rest? A hum of unease I couldn't shake. I set my briefcase in my office, booted up the computer, and braced myself. Something was coming. It hit at 10 a.m. team meeting, conference room, glass walls gleaming under the fluorescence. I'd called it to review the quarter, data I'd prepped, solid as concrete. 10 chairs filled, my crew watching me like I was a tightrope walker halfway across. Laura sat third seat down, legs crossed, scarf knotted tight, her smirk a blade she didn't bother hiding. I stood at the head, clicked the projector on, and started. Q2 numbers, I said, voice level. Shipments up 12%, delays cut by half. Jake's cost analysis saved us 10 grand last month. Good work. Nods, a few murmurs, Jake flushed red, proud. I kept going, sliding stats across the screen, laying out what we built. Then Laura moved. Not loud, not yet, just a shift, a lean forward, her pen tapping the table like a metronome. Tap, tap, tap. I ignored it, flipped to the next slide. Next quarter, we're pushing question, she cut in, voice smooth, too sweet. Heads turned. I stopped, met her eyes. Go ahead, I said, calm. She stood, slow, like she'd rehearsed this. These numbers, they're impressive. Almost too impressive. Makes me wonder how you pulled it off, Daniel. Experience or something else? The room went dead. 10 pairs of eyes pinged between us, air thick with her bait. I didn't flinch. Experience, I said, firm. 10 years at Grayson, like I told you day one. Next question. She didn't sit. Smiled instead, sharper now. See, that's the thing. I know you, Daniel. We were married, remember? I never saw that experience. You were laid off, months out of work. Suddenly you're here, running us? Feels convenient. My pulse kicked, hard, but I kept my face stone. She'd gone there, dragged our wreckage into the open, betting it'd break me. Whispers started, low and fast, Tom from Data, a guy near the back. Jake stared at his hands. Sarah's jaw tightened, but she didn't move. Laura pressed, stepping closer, voice rising. I mean, let's be real. A fake resume's easy to slip by HR, right? Pity hire, maybe. Or spite, get back at me? Which was it? The room held its breath. My coffee sat cold on the table, steam long gone. I could have shut her down, called her out, walked away. But that's what she wanted, me rattled, defensive. I'd played her game too long at home. Not here. I set the clicker down, slow, deliberate, and faced her square. You're right, Laura. We were married. 5 years. You know me better than anyone, or you think you do. Her smirk flickered, just a hair. I stepped around the table, closing the gap, my voice steady, cutting through the hum. Yeah, I was laid off. 8 months, no job. You called me useless, pathetic, every name you could think of. I took it. Kept going. Applied everywhere, 50, 60 places. Horizon saw what you didn't. I'm damn good at this. Grayson wasn't fake. Check the records. I cut costs 15% there, ran a team of 12. Here? I've done it again. Numbers don't lie. You do. She blinked, caught off guard, but rallied fast. Nice story, she shot back, chin up. Doesn't mean you belong here. You're out of your league, Daniel. Everyone sees it. She waved a hand at the team, fishing for backup. No one bit. Sarah crossed her arms, staring her down. Jake looked up, eyes wide but steady. The rest just watched, silent, waiting. I laughed, low, rough, real. Out of my league? Look around. We're hitting targets because I'm here. You? You're the one flailing, spreading lies because you can't stand me winning. That's your play, Laura. Always has been. I turned to the team, voice firm. Anyone else think I don't belong? Speak up. Now. Nothing. Dead air. Tom shifted, uncomfortable. Sarah smirked, faint but there. Laura's face tightened, her bluff crumbling. She opened her mouth, but I cut her off, stepping closer, low so only she'd hear. You're done. Sit down or walk out. Your call. Her eyes flashed, rage, panic, but she sank into her chair, lips a thin line. The room exhaled. I picked up the clicker, faced the screen. Where were we? Next quarter. I ran the rest, 20 minutes, no interruptions. Stats, plans, all of it. Laura stared at the table, scarf twisted in her fingers. When I dismissed them, chairs scraped, voices buzzed, but she stayed put, glaring as they filed out. I didn't look. Grabbed my coffee, headed for my office, the weight lifting off my chest. The floor hummed again, alive, but different, lighter. Jake caught me by the copier later, voice shaky but sure. You meant it? About my analysis? I nodded. Saved us real money. Keep it up. He grinned. First time I'd seen it. Sarah passed by, muttered, "She's toast," and kept walking. I didn't argue. By 6 p.m., the place was empty except her. I was locking my office when I saw her storming down the hall, heels stabbing the carpet, face red. She didn't stop, didn't speak, just brushed past, shoulder clipping mine, and slammed through the stairwell door. It banged shut, echoing like a gunshot. I stood there, heart pounding, adrenaline singing. She'd lost. Publicly. Brutally. And she knew it. I rode the elevator down, the city lights smearing outside. My phone buzzed. Another text. Same number. This isn't over. I stared at it, thumb hovering, then deleted it. She could rage all she wanted. I'd won this round clean, hard, mine. But that fire in her eyes? That wasn't surrender. She'd hit back. Soon. July 2023 hit like a deep breath after a fist fight. The air at Horizon Enterprises shifted after that meeting. Lighter, cleaner, like the fifth floor had finally exhaled. Laura's public flop left a mark, and I felt it every day since. No more whispers, no sidelong glances. The team moved sharper now, eyes on me not with doubt, but with something closer to trust. I'd won them over, not with charm or noise, but with what I'd always had. Results. And damn, it felt good. Monday after the showdown, I walked and braced for her next swing. That text, "This isn't over," still burned in my head, deleted but not gone. But her cubicle sat empty, chair pushed in, desk too neat. I didn't ask, didn't need to. By noon, Sarah confirmed it, leaning on my office doorframe, arms crossed. "She's out," she said, voice dry. "Quit Friday night. Sent an email to HR. Personal reasons. Didn't even clean her stuff. Guess you broke her." I nodded, kept my face blank, but inside, a jolt. Relief, mostly, spiked with something bitter. Broke her? No. She'd broken herself, tripping over her own trap. I saw her storming out again in my mind, heels hammering, that flash of red on her face. She'd gambled big, lost bigger. "Good to know," I said, flipping through a report. Sarah smirked, walked off. That was that. The week rolled smooth. Shipments clicked. Jake's analyses got tighter. Sarah ran shipping like a machine. I'd built something here, piece by piece, and it was holding. Friday, Mike from HR caught me in the hall, beard twitching with a grin. "CEO noticed your numbers," he said, clapping my shoulder. "Q2's a hit." Quiet nod from the top. "Keep it up." I gave a half smile, said thanks, but my chest swelled. A nod from the CEO? That was gold. Laura's ghost faded a little more. Nights were quieter too. Back at my shoebox apartment, the mildew smell didn't sting as bad. Maybe I'd gotten used to it, or maybe I'd stopped caring. I'd sit on that creaky couch, laptop off for once, just listening to the city hum outside. No buzz from my phone, no text from her unknown number. She'd gone dark. I didn't trust it. Not fully, but I let myself settle. The fight was over, or so I thought. Saturday, I stayed late at the office, tweaking a proposal. New routes to shave costs, my kind of puzzle. The floor was a tomb, lights dim, AC humming low. I liked it like that, space to think, to breathe. I was locking up, briefcase in hand, when I saw it. A shadow by Laura's old desk. Not her, too short, too stocky. A janitor, maybe, rifling through drawers. I froze, watched. He pulled out a scarf, her floral one, knotted tight, stuffed it in a trash bag, and moved on. Gone. Just like that. I stood there, staring at that empty cubicle, and it hit me. Harder than I expected. She was really out. Not just the job, but my life. 5 years of her voice, her rules, her weight on me. Erased, like a stain scrubbed clean. I walked to the elevator, the scarf's ghost lingering in my head, and rode down. The lobby was dead, my boots echoing on marble. Outside, the air was thick, summer pressing down, but I felt light, freer than I'd been in years. Back home, I cracked a beer. Cheap, cold, the first I'd had in weeks. Sat on the couch, let the can sweat in my hand. The fight with Laura replayed, not the meeting, but the years before, her tearing me down, me swallowing it, thinking I deserved it. Losing Grayson had gutted me, sure, but she'd made it a grave. I'd climbed out anyway, jobless, broke, alone, and landed here. Manager. Respected. Whole. The beer was half gone when my phone buzzed on the table. I tensed, her again, but it was just a junk email. I laughed, short and rough, set the can down. Then I saw it. A letter slid under my door. No stamp, just my name in her tight, slanted scrawl. My gut twisted. I picked it up, paper thin, unopened. Her last shot? An apology? A threat? I turned it over, thumb brushing the seal, and pictured her writing it, furious, desperate, alone. I didn't open it. Walked to the kitchen, dropped it in the trash next to the sink. Watched it settle on a takeout box, ink smudging in the dim light. Whatever she had to say, I didn't need it. Not anymore. I'd heard her voice enough, years of it, cutting me open. This was mine to end. I grabbed the beer, finished it, the cold biting my throat. The trash stayed shut. Sunday, I slept late, first time in months. Woke to sun slicing through the blinds, a rare clear day. I showered, shaved, pulled on jeans instead of a suit. Took a walk. No bus, no rush, just me and the city. Kids yelled in a park, cars honked, life rolled on. I stopped at a diner, ordered pancakes, greasy, good, and ate slow, tasting every bite. No hurry, no wait. Back at the apartment, I sat by the window, watching clouds drift. Thought about Grayson, those late nights, the team I'd run, the pride I'd lost. Thought about Laura, her venom, her shock when I rose anyway. I'd been a husk for her, a punching bag. No, I was me again, scarred, sure, but standing. The job wasn't just a win, it was proof. I could break and rebuild. She couldn't take that. The trash can nagged at me, that letter's still there, unopened. I almost fished it out, curiosity tugging, but stopped. Let it rot. I turned away, grabbed my laptop, started sketching next quarter's goals. Work was my anchor now, not her. Jake's numbers, Sarah's grit, the team's rhythm, that's what mattered. Laura was a ghost, fading fast. I leaned back, the couch creaking, and let my mind settle. Freedom wasn't loud, not for me. It was this, quiet, mine, earned. She'd hit back someday, maybe. I knew her too well to think she'd vanish. But I'd be ready. For now, I'd won. The city hummed outside, and I closed my eyes, soaking it in. Peace, sharp and real, for the first time in years. August 2023 baked the city in a relentless haze, asphalt shimmering like a mirage outside my office window. For months at Horizon Enterprises, and the fifth floor was mine, not just a desk or a title, but a rhythm I'd built. The team clicked now, Jake's analyses razor sharp, Sarah's shipping flawless, the numbers singing every Friday. I'd turned chaos into order, and it showed. The CEO's quiet nod from July had grown louder, emails from the top. A bonus check slipped into my inbox, a handshake at last week's all hands. I'd made it. Not just back, but higher than I'd ever been. The office was mine too, literally now. I'd swapped the corner slot for a bigger one. Glass walls on two sides, a view that stretched over downtown. No more card tables or creaky couches. I'd upgraded the apartment to a one-bedroom, clean lines, no mildew. Still simple, but mine, paid with sweat and late nights. I sat at my desk that Friday evening, tie loose, sleeves rolled up, the hum of the AC the only sound. The city sprawled below, lights flickering on as dusk crept in, reds, golds, a pulse I could feel in my bones. I leaned back, chair creaking just enough to remind me where I'd started. February felt like a lifetime ago, Laura's voice slicing through that living room, her heels clicking, my okay hanging in the air. 8 months jobless before that, her insults piling up like snow outside my old apartment. Useless. Pathetic. I'd carried those words, let them weigh me down, until I didn't. Walking out that night wasn't just leaving her, it was leaving that version of me, the one who'd been under her. Now, I was solid. Not loud, not flashy, just steady, unbreakable. The team saw it. Jake, especially. Kid had guts now, showed up yesterday with a breakdown of vendor costs I hadn't even asked for. Saved us another chunk. Learned from you, he'd said, grinning, glasses still fogged with nerves but less shaky. I'd clapped his shoulder, told him to keep pushing. Sarah too. She'd started calling me boss, without the edge, a nod I'd earned. Even Tom, the data guy who'd whispered behind my back in May, had fallen in line, crunching numbers like his job depended on it. It did. Laura's ghost had faded, mostly. She'd quit in July, stormed out after that meeting, and vanished. No more texts, no whispers filtering back. Her cubicle stayed empty, a new marketing liaison stepping in. Quiet guy, no drama. I'd won that war, clean and cold, but I didn't gloat. Didn't need to. The victory was in the work, the life I'd clawed back. Still, that unopened letter nagged at me sometimes, buried in my trash back home. I'd left it there, a relic I didn't want to touch. I stood, stretched, grabbed my coffee mug, empty, cold. The floor was dark, team gone for the weekend. I liked these late hours, space to think, to plan. I walked to the window, hands in my pockets, watching the skyline sharpen against the night. Grayson flickered in my head. Those years before the layoffs, running logistics, feeling like I mattered. I'd lost that, thought it was gone for good. Laura had hammered it in. You're nothing without me. She'd been wrong. I was more now, scarred, sure, but stronger for it. Then it hit me. A memory, sharp and unbidden, slicing through the quiet. Early 2018, before we'd soured. Laura, fresh out of grad school, panicking about a job hunt. I'd been at Grayson, solid, pulling strings I didn't brag about. A buddy in HR owed me a favor. I'd slipped her resume through, got her an interview at Horizon. Marketing assistant, entry level, but it stuck. She'd thanked me once, beaming, a rare soft moment. Then forgot it, like it had been her hustle all along. I'd forgotten too, buried it under the fights, the layoffs, her venom. I laughed, low and rough, the sound bouncing off the glass. She'd been here because of me. The job she'd used to lord over me, to call me dead weight. She'd owe that to the guy she'd trashed. Irony, so thick it could choke you. I didn't need her to know, wouldn't tell her, even if she crawled back. It was enough that I did. A secret I'd carry, a quiet edge to my win. The phone on my desk buzzed, snapping me out. Jake, text, not call. Vendor deal locked. 5% off next quarter. Night. I grinned, typed back, good work. Rest up. Kid was a machine now, and I'd shaped him. Pride hit me, warm and real, not just for him, but for me. I built this team, job, life from ash. Laura thought I'd burn out. I burned brighter instead. I grabbed my briefcase, locked the office, rode the elevator down. The lobby echoed, my steps loud on marble. Outside, the air was cooler, summer loosening its grip. I didn't take the bus, walked instead, city noise wrapping around me. Horns, laughter, a street musician's guitar twanging off-key. I stopped at a corner store, grabbed a beer, better stuff this time, not the cheap swill from July. Popped it open on my balcony later, the city sprawling below like a map I'd conquered. I sipped slow, let the cold bite my throat. Thought about that letter again, her last jab, whatever it was. Didn't matter. I'd tossed it, left it behind, like I'd left her. She could have written anything, curses, tears, a plea. It wouldn't change this, me standing here, whole. If she came back, and part of me knew she might, spite like hers didn't die easy, I'd be ready. Not with anger, not anymore. With this quiet, hard-earned peace. The beer was gone when I set it down, the clinking on the railing. I leaned forward, elbows on metal, watching the lights pulse. Grayson, Laura, the layoffs, they'd shaped me, sure, but they didn't own me. Horizon did. The team did. I did. I'd fallen, broken, risen, higher than I'd dreamed back in that snowy February night. I turned off the office light in my mind, shut it down, like I had an hour ago. Smiled, faint but real, not at her fall, not at revenge, but at me. The view from the top wasn't just the skyline, it was this feeling, sharp and mine. The city hummed below, and I let it carry me, one steady breath at a time. Free. You've just heard my story, every step from that cold Valentine's Eve to this view from the top. I took the hits, walked through the fire, and came out stronger. Now it's your move. What's the fight you're facing? The comeback you're chasing? Drop it in the comments below. I'm listening, and so's this crew. Hit that like button if you felt this. Smash subscribe for more tales of grit like mine, and ring the bell so you don't miss the next one. Share this with someone who needs a spark. Let's keep rising, together. This is Daniel Carter, signing off, but not out. See you soon in our next story.